And for more insight, we turn to former Canadian diplomat Gordon Houlden in British Columbia. He's also the director and professor emeritus at the University of Alberta's China Institute. Gordon, great having you. First up, Premier Li Qiang used his UN speech to pitch China as a major climate actor. What substance do you see behind those words?
Well, thank you, Diego. Well, to begin with, the UN audience is well aware of the size of the Chinese economy. So what China does matters, and it matters in terms of climate policy as well. In particular, though, Premier Li Qiang made reference to the fact that China has the largest and fastest growing renewable energy industry, which is useful not only for China but for other countries. And secondly, he referenced the remarks made earlier in the week by President Xi Jinping that China will by 2035 cut its emissions by 7 to 10%, which again, given the size of the Chinese economy, gives substance to those comments.
And Gordon, you just mentioned one of the many climate commitments China made this week. What do you think will make or break their success?
A couple of things. First, fulfilling them. And China has been on track to cut its overall emissions, but when Premier Li Qiang makes specific, Premier Xi Jinping as well, a promise to cut emissions by a specific amount, 7 to 10% by a time which is only 10 years away, the world will be watching carefully to see if it's done. And that will give credibility when and if China achieves those goals. And secondly, the willingness of China to assist other countries in reaching their own climate goals and broadly working towards improving climate, reducing the impact of climate change will be significant. And it stands then, quite frankly, in stark contrast to remarks by the US president earlier in the week who criticized the whole concept of climate change. Premier Li Qiang did not make any direct criticism of the United States, but I think the delegates will make that contrast themselves.
You just spoke about green diplomacy, right? And Western skepticism is high. How do you think China can convince global partners that its climate goals are a real commitment and they can also join?
Well, as we say in English, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. That when China carries out its goals and when you can check those boxes, each and every one of the Chinese promises, I think that should give and must give some credence to those comments. I also, however, fear that given that not every economy in the world is paying close attention to the effects of climate change, that the situation may be worsening. And we will also see, I think, thrown into relief, if we do not slow this onslaught of climate change, the effects will be quite telling, particularly for small countries, particularly those island nations in the South Pacific. So I think that what we're going to see will be linked to Chinese progress. So I'm assuming that these goals will be met, and when they are met, it will give credence, I think, to other countries, small, medium, Western, and Southern.
Gordon Houlden, thank you for your time and insights.
Thank you, Diego.